What's up guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Magali. If this is your first time here, I'm a coach and I'm here to make fitness easy and simple to understand. And in this video, we're going over hip thrusts and we're going over 5 variations to help you grow the booty with the most incredible exercise there is. So I'm sure you've seen this exercise everywhere, but I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to show you a video demonstration, explain the form, describe technique, when these workouts will be useful for when, and just some notes about them to make sure that you're doing them correctly and you're getting the most out of it. The first variation is the standard barbell hip thrust. So you're going to place the bar over your hips with the pad in between the bars so you don't bruise, and you're going to get into position. Feet are facing forward, chin is down, feet are kind of shoulder width apart, and they're directly underneath your knees. So as you push up, you're going to think of pushing the bar far away from you as you push up so that it's not directly on your stomach. You kind of want it a little bit more on the hip area. And as you come up, think of clenching the glutes as hard as you possibly can, bringing those hips as high as you can. So if you look at it from the side view, I look like a table at the top. My feet are directly under my knees, forming a 90-degree angle, and then my knees are straight across from my hips, and then my hips are straight across from my head. So it all is like a 90-degree formation, forming like a table. And this is important because this is going to be the optimal formation for you to use the glutes properly and to do the hip thrust correctly. So again, every single rep as you come in, squeeze those glutes together. Think of bringing your hips up as high as you can. And the standard barbell hip thrust, as you saw in the previous episode, is this a TV show? In the previous clip, both of your feet are stable. This is the most stable version of the hip thrust in my opinion. So what that ends up meaning is you can push the most weight with this one. And when it comes to building muscle, it's all about basically increasing the tension on the muscle, and increasing the weight is one of the ways you do that. I would definitely include at least one day in your workouts where you have the standard barbell hip thrust, and then just focus on doing as much weight as you can for anywhere from 6 to 12 reps, and then just focus on getting stronger week by week. This would be the best to build strength, to really put the tension on the glutes to perfect form, because it's the most stable. It's basically the easiest. Just choose a weight that's comfortable for you, and then when you are comfortable, really push the weight, put tension on those glutes, and there you go. In this variation, we're going to get into the hip thrust position. Feet facing forward, chin down, bar over the hips. Now, as we push up, we're going to hold for 3 full seconds. And as you're doing this, you're going to actively push up your glutes against the bar as you hold for those 3 seconds. Normal pace on the way down, but as you go up, again, 3, 2, 1. Up, 3, 2, 1. Down, up, 3, 2, 1. And you'll keep doing this. Keep focusing on squeezing those glutes against the bar as you hold. Keep your chin down. Make sure every other part of the hip thrust form is perfect. And here you're going to feel your glutes burning. And the reason for that is we're going to be holding the tension at the hardest part of the exercise, which is the top. So make sure you don't cheat yourself out. 3 full seconds. 3, 2, 1. So the second one, which you again saw in the previous clip, is a 3-second hold hip thrust. Now the 3-second hold is a principle called rest pause method. You want to basically hold the position where it's the hardest. The hip thrust is hardest at the top, not at the bottom, which is why we hold it at the top. At the top, your glutes are the most stressed. They're being used the most because it's the hardest position. So by holding it and by continuing to put that force upward by squeezing the glutes, you're going to put a lot more tension on muscle, a lot more growth. Now obviously, because you're holding the position, you don't want to go as heavy, but again, the reason why we want to use these is to put extra tension on that top portion and really get that glute to focus on squeezing as hard as possible. Choose a weight that you can actually fully lock out, like I showed in the clip. Go all the way up. If you're just shy of lockout, it's too heavy, drop the weight a little bit, and you can do anywhere from 8 to 15 reps with these. But because you're holding it, you probably don't want to go above that, otherwise you'll be at the hip thrust station for days. But anyway, that's the 3-second hold rest pause method hip thrust. On to the next. So the 1 1/4 method hip thrust is almost like a regular hip thrust, but with one little tweak with the way that you do the reps. So you're going to get into the hip thrust position and you're going to do a rep as normal, but before you come all the way down, you want to do a little bit of a pulse. And the 1 1/4 in the name is because you want to drop just 1/4 of the way down. So you're going to go up, pulse, 1/4 pulse, and then come down. Now the important thing with this one is you want to make sure that you're locking out every time when you go all the way up and when you do the pulse. So up, squeeze, pulse, squeeze, and then come down. Up, squeeze, pulse, squeeze, and then come down. You want to make sure again that those hips are going all the way up and fully locking out when you're doing the regular rep and then when you're doing the pulse to really engage those glutes properly. Slow and steady is the name of the game with these. So the third variation is a 1 1/4 method. Now this method is very similar to the rest pause method, where we're increasing the tension, the amount that the muscle has to work at the hardest point of the workout, again with the hip thrust at the top. Now it's slightly different. We're not holding it, we're pulsing at the top, and again it's just a little drop in the movement, not too much. The 1 1/4 method is to increase the tension at the top, make it really hard at the top, train the glutes to stay strong at the top, to lock out fully. And then of course with this one you want to lower the weight significantly. That's pretty much what the 1 1/4 method is compared to the rest pause method and why it's beneficial. So experiment, see if you like it. I personally love it, but also hate it because it burns, but it's amazing. So let's move on to the next one. So with the banded hip thrust, you're going to choose a band, either that's rubber or fabric, the smaller ones, and you're going to place it right above your knees. This is important because this is where the point of resistance is the most. So now you're going to get into your regular hip thrust position. And as you come up, you need to think of pushing against the band, kind of opening your legs against the resistance. This is going to make your glutes activate a little bit more and have to work a little bit harder, because not only do they have to bring you up, but they also have to push your knees outward, aka making it more difficult. So really be focused on pushing those knees out as far out as you can and keeping your hips coming all the way up. Because if you start to notice that your hips can't fully lock out, meaning you don't go all the way to the top, the band is probably counterproductive, and either you choose a lighter weight, meaning like a lighter band, or maybe just skip the band altogether until you get your hip thrust form on point. But once you master this one, your glutes will be on fire. So do some experimentation, see which band works for you, and then kind of decide if this variation of the hip thrust works for you. Now this next one is the knee banded hip thrust. Now with this one, the whole purpose of putting the knee around the bands is to push your knees open and force them to what we call abduct, open wide, and that engages the glutes a little bit more. I typically do this towards the end of a leg workout, more as a burnout, more as an end. Let's finish off with 20-30 reps to really get the pump, really get the glutes, working, but not so much go heavy, put a lot of weight, get as much weight on the bar as you possibly can. None of that. Use it as a burnout, as a finisher, more towards the end of the workout, just to get as many reps, as much tension, get the volume, get the burnout in, and it'll definitely make you leave the gym feeling pumped, if you know what I mean. It feels good. It really gets the booty feeling it, and I think it's great. So give it a try, let me know. And on to the last one. So this is the single leg hip thrust, which is designed to work out one leg at a time. So as you get into the hip thrust position, you're going to push off of one leg, push your hips and body all the way up, and you're going to notice this variation is going to be a little bit different than the other ones because you're on one leg. So that means you can't fully engage your glutes and squeeze them as hard as you can because you're only using one. So the main goal with this variation is to push as high as you can and put as much pressure as you can on the foot that's on the ground. So in this case, it's the left side. Now, for a lot of people, doing it on one leg alone is a little bit difficult. So if you're not there yet, and if it's a little bit too advanced for you, you're just going to put one foot slightly in front of the other, but still keep it on the ground. Now, by doing this, what we call this B stance, you're still putting the pressure more on one leg than the other, but not entirely on just one. So it's a little bit easier and a little bit less balance focused than single leg. So kind of play around with both variations, see which one you like better, see which one you can go the highest with, because that's the important thing, and then kind of just work your way from there. Obviously, make sure that each side you do the same exact amount that you did on the other side, and you should be good to go. These are really hard. Take your time with these, but they are awesome. Okay, these are a little bit different than the other ones, because if you've noticed in the previous clips, the hips had to almost scoop up, and I'll put another clip here so you can see the hips have to scoop up. Your upper body doesn't really move. Now with the single leg hip thrust you saw in the previous clip, kind of your entire body has to rotate with it, but you can't really scoop the hips forward. You have to push your entire body up. That's why it's a little bit different and the form is slightly different. But the reason why these are so beneficial, basically stressing more one leg than the other helps to work imbalances. We all have one side that's weaker, and I'm sure you know exactly what side that is for you. For me, it's my left. By incorporating single leg work, and this is with legs, with arms, with back, everything, you want to have a single side component to work on each side individually to help target those imbalances that are not apparent when you're working with both limbs or both legs at the same time. This is no different, so that's why I really like the single leg hip thrust, because it works on the glute and hamstring imbalances that you may have on one leg or the other. Why this is beneficial, why you need to worry about that to grow your glutes? Well, symmetry, having each leg be the same strength. If you don't work on that at all, you're going to be lopsided. You're going to have one side that's bigger than the other. First and foremost, not cute, and also can lead to injuries, basically putting you out of the gym, decreasing your progress. Definitely incorporate a single leg stance into your workouts, whether it's only one leg if you can do it, and if not, try the B stance, but don't skip out on single leg work because it is super important so that you get the results that you want and you're not all chueca. This one you probably can't do too many reps because they're super difficult, so maybe aim for 5 to 10, maybe 15 if you can, and definitely go much lighter. You want to be able to push all the way up, really get the glutes engaged and work them out. That's the single leg or B stance hip thrust. Now that you have these 5 different hip thrust variations, you may be thinking, well, what do I do with them? How do I use them? When? What day should I do what? How many of these should I use? And how many days should I do them? How many reps? How many sets? How much weight? All of these questions are extremely difficult for me to just answer blanketly because you are also different. You all require different things. You all require different weight. You're all at different levels. You all feel things differently. So my best piece of advice for incorporating this information into your actual routine is try each variation. If you don't have a bar, use some kind of weight and see which variation you feel the best doing and which one you feel in the glutes the most. This whole workout and fitness journey and building muscle and building the glutes, it's all about finding the perfect blend of exercises that work best for you. And that's going to look different than mine. That's going to look different than hers, than his, whoever we're talking about. Everybody's routine is going to look different. So the most important thing is try all these different variations, and then if it's not working, try another one, and so forth and so on. It's just a big pile of experimentation and trial and error. And I wish I could just give you the answers that you're looking for in terms of what to do exactly when, but that's all going to require more specific and individualized help. Obviously, can't really do that through a YouTube video. So see what works for you, see what you feel best. Definitely work on single leg stuff though. I would say that's one of the most important takeaways of anything is we're all going to have those weaknesses. We're all going to have those areas that struggle, and let's not ignore them and leave them off to the side until we're forced to deal with them, you know, when it comes to getting hurt or, you know, things kind of looking weird. Focus on that at the beginning. Your workouts will improve, your strength will improve, and ultimately the glutes will improve. That's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions or comments about anything I discussed today, please leave them below. Please do not forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Like this video for more, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Magali out.